All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how the company Wash installs a coin-operated gas dryer in our condo association. This one over here is a little bit more complicated because it is a gas. We've got to turn this way, unplug it. We got to pull that vent off, and we'll either disconnect it here or there. First thing we're going to do is turn off the gas by turning it perpendicular to the gas line. Next, we're going to unscrew this flex hose gas line. You're going to need 2 wrenches to do it, to get this joint off here. It's been on there for a long time, so they're really putting some elbow grease. Bam, there, you got it loose. And we got that off of there, but there's still, we've got to get the joint connector off. You can see that one right there. So we got to get this thing off of there. And then we're going to replace all of this with new parts, which is the smartest thing you could possibly do, I think. And once you got it loose, you just unscrew it. So once it's unplugged and you've got the vent pulled off, and you can see this had a really crummy connector on the end of that vent that hooked onto the dryer. You can see it right there. Once you got that off, we can pull the machine out and get rid of it and get the new one. And then we just need a nut driver to pull that off of there. It's got one of those, circular clamps. And as you can see, it's pretty messy. We're going to have to clean that up. All right, here's the new dryer that we're going to install. There's the gas connector. There's your vent hole, and there's your cord. And we first have to do some prep. All right, because this is a gas dryer, you're going to need some pipe dope or Teflon tape. And I think plumbers really like to use this pipe dope. And you want to spread it evenly and liberally over all the threads before you screw it in. And so we're just going to do that, and then we're going to hand tighten it first, and then we'll put the wrench on it and get it super nice and tight so we have no leaks. We got a couple extra hoses, and we got this thing for middle bit connector, so we're going to have to use 2 hoses because we need the length to get all the way to the bottom. All right, so the length of the hose from the gas junction is a little bit longer, so we're going to take 2 of these gas flex hoses and put them together. Notice I had to unscrew that top part off of that, and then we're going to put this little connector piece in there, but we've got to put pipe dope on both sides of it, and then we're going to tighten it down, and then we're going to create a longer gas line by doing that. And you can see he's unscrewing the one side there, and then he's going to put, once he's got it kind of screwed into the other one, he goes ahead and puts the pipe dope on the other side of that connector that's going to connect these 2 flex hoses together, as you can see. And then he's just going to screw it in there with his hands, and then we'll tighten it down with a wrench afterwards. And so now this will connect down at the bottom, but we're first going to put our connector on, but we've got to put some pipe dope on that opening there where we're going to connect the flex hose. And then we have to tighten these 2 together, of course, with a wrench. And then down here, we're going to go ahead and put this little, I guess you could call it a nipple, and we're going to put some more pipe dope on that, and then we're going to connect this hose onto it. But first, we got to tighten it down with a wrench. Make sure it's on there. You don't want any gas leaking. That would be bad. So he's going to get it nice and tight. But you got to be careful because it's plastic. You don't want to break it. All right, before we pull the dryer in, we want to go ahead and hook up the exhaust vent to the sleeve. We're using one of those circular clamps. And then what you're going to do is you're going to grab a nut driver and tighten it down. You could use a flathead screwdriver, but this is a lot easier and quicker, and you want to make sure that you get a really good tight seal so all that air exits out the wall. Once we've connected our flex hose together, then we've got to connect it to the gas line. Now remember, we did put that one piece in there, but we still have to tighten it down a little bit. So we're going to need 2 wrenches, and we're going to tighten it in, and we're going to put the one on the gas line itself, and then we're on the adapter, and we're going to get that nice and tight. So you're going to need 2 wrenches. You might need 2 people. And so once we're on there, we get that in there, and so it's really good and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go drop it down, and we're going to tighten the actual flex hose onto that adapter that's going into the gas line. So now we've got to get under there and tighten that. So that will require 2 of these wrenches. And you just got to make sure it's tight enough that you don't have a leak. All right, so anyway, once we've got that flex hose tightened onto the gas line, we're going to bring our dryer in. And right now we're putting these 4 little plastic, I guess you would call them feet, on the dryer itself. And we're going to just bring it around, and we've got to connect the vent and we got to connect the gas line to it and then just plug it in. So it's not that big of a deal, but you just want to make sure that your gas line doesn't have any leaks. That's the most important thing. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect our flex hose to that gas intake valve at the bottom. So you're going to need a a wrench to do that. You want to make sure that it's nice and tight so you don't have any gas leaking out of there. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our vent on. We're just going to screw it right on the back hole there at the very bottom. And there's one of those circular clamps. So you're going to need a nut driver. And you can see you just put the clamp over it. And you're going to slide it on there. And then you're going to put the clamp there. And then you just get your nut driver on it. Tighten her down. And now you've got your vent connected to your dryer. All right, now once we've got everything connected in the back, the gas and the vent, we're just going to slide the dryer back. And you don't want to crimp anything back there, so you want to double check it and make sure it's not getting smushed, and make sure that your vent isn't compromised. And then you just plug it in. Bam, Bob's your uncle. Now the next thing you could do is you could test it just by pressing that button right there. Bam. And let's see if it's working. We'll find out in a second. All right, so you got to make sure you turn the gas back on, so you want to have it running even with the pipe. And now this thing should heat up. We'll see in a second. We'll check outside on the vent and see if we've got hot air flowing out of there. But that's it right there. Bam, you got a dryer installed, ready to go. So I'm just going to step outside, and there's some hot air coming out of the vent. Looks like the dryer is working, and we've got a good installation. And I don't smell any gas, at least not yet. All right, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and check out my other awesome videos where I show you other stuff like this. Peace out.